Hello viewers, thank you so much for joining me on this channel. In today's video, I will tell you about all the places I visited when I went to London. London is a huge city and it is impossible to cover all the places that one should visit in a single trip. But I tried to visit as many places as I could. I had a plan to visit certain places and I think I managed to visit all of them. So without further ado, in this video, I will just tell you the places I visited. Maybe in future, I will tell you in detail about some of the places individually. I reached London, the London Heathrow Airport. London Heathrow Airport, as you know, is one of the busiest airports in the world. So I landed in London at Heathrow Airport. London has 6 different airports, and maybe someday I'll make a video about the airports in London. But I landed in Heathrow Airport. From Heathrow Airport, I took the London Underground to reach my hotel. This building was my hotel, and as you can see, there is an underground station nearby. The first place that I visited in London was Kensington Garden, which is famous for its swans. And you can see in the background here, this is the Royal Palace. This is where Princess Diana once lived, and now I believe Prince William and Princess Kate lived there. The next place I visited was the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. It is one of the World Heritage Sites in London. The other World Heritage Sites in London, I believe, are the Tower of London and the Greenwich Prime Meridian. The following morning, I started my sightseeing trip from King's Cross Station of Harry Potter fame. And very close to King's Cross Station is the St. Pancras Station, as you can see in the picture within the picture. This is the St. Pancras Station, which is very close to King's Cross Station. The next place I visited was Green Park. Beyond these trees lies the Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace was next in line, and in the winter months, every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 11 a.m. there is the changing of the guard ceremony. So we reached Buckingham Palace around 9 in the morning, and I decided to go on a walking tour near Buckingham Palace. The first place I visited was St. James Park. St. James Park is famous for its ducks and friendly squirrels. From St. James Park, I went to Trafalgar Square. In the background, you see here the National Gallery, and this is the famous Nelson's Column with the statue of Admiral Nelson at the top. From Trafalgar Square, I walked to Whitehall, which houses many of the famous government buildings of the United Kingdom. This building here is the Cabinet Office. And this is Downing Street. This is the street where the Prime Minister of UK stays. From there we went to see the Palace of Westminster, which has the famous Elizabeth Tower, also known as the Big Ben. This is the Parliament building of the United Kingdom. Very close to the Palace of Westminster is the Westminster Abbey. From Westminster Abbey we decided to walk to Buckingham Palace to witness the changing of the guard ceremony. As you can see here, this is the beginning of the changing of the guard ceremony. So the guards walk from their own palace to the Buckingham Palace, where changing of the guard takes place every day during summer and every alternate day on Monday, Wednesday and Friday during winter at 11 a.m. From Buckingham Palace we then went to Walkie Talkie Tower, which is basically a tower which looks like a walkie-talkie. I think the proper name of this tower is 20 Fenchurch Street. We went to Sky Garden, which is a garden with a great view right at the top of this skyscraper. The entry to this place is free, but the catch is that you have to book your seats 3 weeks in advance. So right on the top floors of this building lies a garden called Sky Garden, because it is a garden in the sky. We got a beautiful view of the London skyline from Sky Garden. This building here is the Shard, which is probably the tallest building in London. This nondescript bridge is the London Bridge, and this fancy bridge is called the Tower Bridge. Very close to the Tower Bridge lies the Tower of London. And the Tower of London was our next destination. As you can see here, this is the Tower of London, and in this picture you see two ravens. Now, ravens play a very important role in the history of the Tower of London as well as the history of the British Empire. Maybe we'll discuss this in more detail in some other video. From the Tower of London, I went to Tower Bridge, and as you can see here, there is a higher tier of the bridge, and I walked along this higher tier. There is a glass section of this bridge, which is a little scary to walk on, but I was assured that it was built in a way that it could withstand the weight of an adult African elephant. So I walked along the glass on the top of the bridge, and I could see the road below. Pretty scary. From the Tower Bridge, I went to see the St. Paul's Cathedral, which is a magnificent structure. From St. Paul's Cathedral, I crossed the Millennium Bridge. This is the Millennium Bridge. At one end is St. Paul's Cathedral, and at the other end is the Tate Modern Museum. Millennium Bridge. The Tate Modern Museum is a museum of contemporary art, and like all museums in London, it is completely free to enter. From Tate Modern Museum, I went to see Shakespeare's Globe. And from Shakespeare's Globe, I walked to London Bridge. London Bridge, as previously illustrated from Sky Garden, is a very nondescript bridge, nothing fancy, but extremely famous. The next morning, I started my trip from Hampstead Heath, a very famous park in North London. From Hampstead Heath, I went to see the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There is a mural near the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, not on the stadium wall. This is a mural near the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium depicting Harry Kane. I wonder if this mural is still there, because Harry Kane, as you know, now plays for Bayern Munich. From Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I went to the Emirates Stadium, which is the home ground of Arsenal Football Club. I then visited Regent's Park, which is one of the most beautiful parks in London. Very close to Regent's Park is the Royal College of Physicians, a relatively modern building, to be honest. Inside Regent's Park is the Primrose Hill. I climbed it up and got a beautiful view of the London skyline from the summit of Primrose Hill. As you can see in the distance here, this is the London Eye. From Regent's Park, I went to see Abbey Road Studios, which was quite close to Regent's Park. Abbey Road Studios, as you know, is famous for the Beatles, and I believe it was on this roof that they delivered their last live performance. From Abbey Road Studios, I went to the home of cricket, which is the Lord's Cricket Ground. From Lord's Cricket Ground, I walked to the Sherlock Holmes Museum. From the Sherlock Holmes Museum, I went to Madame Tussauds Museum. From Madame Tussauds, I went to Wimbledon, All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. Next up on my list was Covent Garden, a very famous market in London. Very close to Covent Garden is the London Transport Museum, and very close to London Transport Museum is the Royal Opera House. Next place on my list was Leicester Square, which was overcrowded as usual. I did not spend much time at Leicester Square. From Leicester Square, I went to Piccadilly Circus, which is often described as the Times Square of London. From Piccadilly Circus, I went to Soho, which is a very happening neighborhood in London. The next morning, I received my diploma at the Royal College of Surgeons of England. Very close to the Royal College of Surgeons of England is the Natural History Museum, where I saw many nice exhibits like this dinosaur exoskeleton. I next visited Science Museum. Like all museums in London, Science Museum is also absolutely free to enter, although I did get a few suspicious looks from people who mostly expect young children to visit Science Museum. I also visited Victoria and Albert Museum, which was very close to Science Museum. In fact, this picture was clicked from inside Science Museum. Next up on my list was the Royal Albert Hall. From the Royal Albert Hall, I went to see Harrods, an exclusive supermarket, which was, I believe, undergoing renovation at that time. Next day, I started my journey by visiting Wembley Stadium. From Wembley Stadium, I went to Notting Hill Market on Portobello Road. This is a famous shop which is of the Notting Hill movie fame. I then visited Stamford Bridge Football Stadium, which is the home ground of Chelsea Football Club. Via Canary Wharf. Canary Wharf is a famous business district in London. Via Canary Wharf, I went from Stamford Bridge to Greenwich. In Greenwich, I witnessed the prime meridian, the 0-degree longitude line, and as you can see in this picture, one of my feet is in the Western Hemisphere and the other foot is in the Eastern Hemisphere. One foot in the West, the other in the East. Quite metaphorical, if you ask me. Very close to the Greenwich Naval Observatory is Cutty Sark, which was once a boat but is now a museum. I then visited Borough Market, a very famous and old market in London. Very close to Borough Market is the Shard, which is, in my opinion, and if I'm not wrong, the tallest skyscraper in the United Kingdom. From the Shard, I went to Camden Market, another very famous market in London. I was clicking a picture and somebody here is making the peace sign. Very friendly people here. London has this great tradition of demarcating with plaques houses inhabited by famous residents. So this particular house was once the home of George Bernard Shaw, and during a different period was home to Virginia Woolf. I then visited the British Museum, which is a magnificent structure. It has a questionable history, but it is a must-watch in my opinion. I was very, very happy to have visited this place. If this place looks familiar, it's because the famous Diagon Alley scene in Harry Potter was filmed here. This is the Leadenhall Market. This tall structure here is the Monument of London, which is dedicated to the Great Fire of London. I visited King's College, which is very close to Somerset House. Somerset House is believed to be one of the best places to click pictures and shoot videos. It's a very beautiful place. I relaxed for a while on the banks of the River Thames. As you can see here, this is the London Eye, and this is the Palace of Westminster. Next up on my list was Hyde Park. This is Serpentine Lake. I was under the impression that one was allowed to swim here, but I was greeted with this sign saying in no uncertain terms that swimming not allowed. Next day I visited the banks of the Thames again, and I clicked this beautiful picture of the London Eye showing the sun setting on the British Empire. Or is it rising? I'm not sure. This is the famous Scotland Yard building, very close to the Palace of Westminster. I visited Shoreditch to see wall art or graffiti or Banksy, I don't know what the right term is. I also saw the Gherkin, which is another quirky London specific name for this skyscraper, which is I think called the St. Mary Axe building. I also got a chance to visit Charles Dickens Museum, which is basically where Charles Dickens used to live. And I ended my journey by taking the flight back to India from London Stansted Airport. I hope you liked watching this video. If you want me to talk more about any of the places I visited, then I'll be happy to make more videos on this topic. If you have any questions or if you noticed any mistake, please feel free to point it out in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope I'll see you again in the next video.